Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to our today's interview in the frame, which takes place in the frame of our CESI Talks series, which is part of our WEP24 project, which aims at raising awareness of citizens and of our members also for the upcoming EU elections in June 2024. And today I'm with Petros Fassoulas. Petros is Secretary General of the European Movement International for quite some years already, and he's the best person to talk to when it comes to the future of Europe and the upcoming European elections. Petros, welcome.
Good morning, Klaus. Great to be here with you.
Petros, the European Movement International just had recently its Federal Assembly, had the honor to be, let's say, to become a member of your board also. Now, if you look at the upcoming European elections, also with a new team in place, what are your priorities now for the coming year?
Indeed, the elections are coming often and quite fast, and we had our own elections, and we're very happy with the new team we have in place. As you know, the European Movement Network is a quite broad alliance of stakeholders from across society, and we want to make sure that our board reflects that diversity. So we are extremely happy that we have people not just from all corners of Europe, but also from all sides of the political spectrum and from all sides of society itself, be it social partners, NGOs, environmental organizations, youth organizations, you name it. So we're extremely fortunate to have that diversity that really strengthens our ability to provide thought leadership and a vision for Europe that is all-encompassing and inclusive. So based on that, alongside electing a new board, we also adopted our work plan for next year and our policy priorities for the 3 years ahead. And the core objective here is how can we work together to strengthen our union? The EU is a remarkable achievement of integration, cooperation, and solidarity among European nations, but it remains incomplete. And if it is to address the challenges that we're facing, it needs to also strengthen itself and improve in many areas. Unfortunately, no human endeavor is perfect in the outset. So our focus is very much on pulling together different sides of society to come up with ideas, with proposals and recommendations that will strengthen the EU. And the European elections is the perfect moment to do that. Politicians from across our continent are coming together, asking citizens to entrust them with the decision-making necessary to make our union stronger, and we want to be part of that conversation, both trying to inform a little bit political leaders about our ideas, but also trying to involve citizens into that process, explain to them what is at stake, and making sure that they take part in the elections, they vote, and they make their voice heard.
That would be my next question. What would you tell people, citizens, why go vote? I'm always saying, Euroscepticism is not a disease. There are good reasons also to be skeptical and to raise criticism. But there also, and I remember we've had a meeting recently, and you referred to the famous scene in the movie The Life of Brian, where when it comes to the advantages of a certain situation, these advantages of certain construct or supranational structure are not so easily seen. I mean, you are the Secretary General here of the EMI, that's your job. What are you telling these citizens?
Well, we are, unfortunately, at the crossroads. Our planet, our society, our political system itself is at risk. So these elections, like all elections, whether they're local, regional, national, or European, are extremely important. We are asked to make decisions that will define not just our generation, but generations to come. Both in terms of the environment, our transition to a digital economic model, our social system, the welfare and social care that our fellow citizens require. And as I said, also our political system. There is a competition of ideologies out there. Unfortunately, we're seeing it being manifested on the battlefield and, of course, on the internet. But there is indeed a conflict of values going on. So these elections is an opportunity for all of us to really choose the people that represents both the values we stand for, but also who have proposals, ideas, a vision for how to deal with these existential challenges we're facing. So if that's not good enough reason to get out of bed and go and vote, I'm not sure what it is. Now, it's important to also say that our engagement shouldn't stop at casting our ballot in a box every 4 or 5 years. Exactly because the challenges are so important, we need to remain active, whether it is through trade unions or through civil society organizations, or just by simple acts of volunteerism at the local level. We can really make a difference. We can engage much more with the issues that are important to us if we remain active. And on our side too, we are working very hard also to come up with ideas and proposals that will enable our fellow citizens to have a bigger say in the decisions that affect them in a way that goes beyond elections. The idea of deliberative and participatory democracy is something we have been developing already since 2018. And we saw it with the Conference of the Future of Europe in 2021, that it can work. You can bring citizens, inform them, enable them to deliberate, and then participate in the decisions that affect them, alongside elected representatives, organized civil society, the social partners, and of course the European institutions. These are not mutually exclusive. Actually, our democracy should be inclusive and should provide as many opportunities and platforms for citizens to engage. So, our work is focusing both on highlighting the issues and what's at stake at the moment, but also providing citizens with more opportunities to be part of the decisions that affect them.
Yeah, I must say we at CESI also we've made extremely positive experiences in the past years by, let's say, confronting citizens or our members also with the crucial question: what is it good for? What is the European Union good for? What is it good for workers and for citizens? And the answers were extremely positive. And I'm always saying also that by the end of the day, the possibilities of participation are high. As you mentioned, whether we speak of the civil society or trade unions or other organizations, I think involvement in these, let's say, intermediaries is absolutely crucial. Petros, to my last question, you mentioned these crucial existential challenges. What are your biggest fears, and what is your biggest hope for the coming year and maybe beyond?
Well, our citizens are faced with a difficult combination of factors. They're feeling insecure economically, socially, in terms of security, and they're looking for answers. And I always fear that if they go up to the well and they find it dry of water, they will drink mud. And the mud that I'm referring to is that comes from populists and authoritarians. The easy solutions that sometimes are presented as answers to the challenges we face are nothing more than the song of sirens that will only lead our society to the rocks. And we know what happens when a ship lost in a tempest ends up on the rocks. So I'm generally concerned that exactly because of the difficult situation we're in, people who are, of course, by and large, well-meaning, might be seduced by those simplistic solutions that are offered by populist and often authoritarian parties and leaders. And that will only exaggerate, of course, our problems. Because what we need now is scientific, concrete, inclusive policy making that enable us to really address the issues. And as I said, the environmental crisis we're facing is indeed of existential nature, but also the changes that our societies are undertaking are enormous. We've seen the effect that digitalization has at the workplace, both for employers, but especially for workers. We see that our demographics are changing, our societies are aging. We need more care, more welfare, more healthcare, and these are very expensive things. We need to upskill and re-educate ourselves, but also ensure that our children are equipped for the economy of the future. And these are all things that are laying very heavy on the minds of people who really want to have a stable, prosperous life for them and for their families. So it is really of great concern that we are not able to provide those solutions, that we are moving from one crisis to the next. In the last 20, 25 years, we've seen a financial crisis, a sovereign debt crisis, a migration crisis, and of course, the ongoing environmental crisis. And it can be exhausting. It can really make people feel disillusioned and disengaged from the process around them. And we have been doing polling over the last few years, and we have seen a consistent decline in the support for democracy across our union. And the one area where often people trip when we ask the questions is the question of the issue of leadership. And especially young people are getting frustrated with democracy. The constant bickering, the seeking for compromises, the watering down of solutions. They're starting to think that democracy isn't working for them or for the issues that are important to them. And sometimes they're tempted by the idea of turning to a strong leader who has all the answers, who doesn't have to deal with a parliament or civil society even. And that is really concerning. And this is, as I said, the result of this long period of crisis. There is a generation of young people that was born and has grown up in crisis, and they're tired, they're exhausted, and they want to see solutions that will provide them with a better future. And they are tempted with, as I said, those snake oil artists who offer remedies that don't do anything but poison our society.
Maybe last comment, because you mentioned it, the issue of having to make compromises, having to water down certain legislative proposals, etc. How, because to my mind, this is always, which is, and the older I get, the more I value that, the European compromise. What is your saying of what is your attitude, what is your opinion of this European compromise, which, well, to my mind, I mean, puts respect above the brute force of the strongest. And how do you see that, maybe as a final comment?
Yeah. Compromise and consensus lies at the heart of our society. All relationships are governed by the need to find common ground, middle ground. And it's important to remind ourselves and those around us of that necessity. Again, it's human nature. When we're under duress, under stress, we look for easy ways out. And we think that by imposing one opinion over another, we will find a solution. Unfortunately, that is never the case. And we need to make sure that our policy making, our decision making structures are fit for the future. And again, that's why I think we need to reconfigure our democracy a little bit. Representative democracy has served us very well for a long time. And it's basically something that we cannot let perish. But if we don't strengthen it, if we don't provide the opportunity for more people to get involved in those decisions, to understand them better, and to also realize the value of compromise and consensus, then we're going to lose it. So we do need to invest seriously in flagging representative democracy, supplementing it, supporting it with participatory democracy, with more avenues for people to take decisions on, small and big issues, from, irrigation in a small village up to whether we need a health union to deal with pandemics at the European level. So it is, I think, essential that we re-engineer our democracy to make sure that it does feature more tools in its arsenal, more opportunities for people to get engaged, to see the value of consensus building, of common decision making, of collective action. So then our society can become more robust and able to deal with these huge challenges we're facing.
So as a final comment to those listening, to those watching, go vote, participate, get involved, and value compromise and consensus as the beacon for democracy. Petros, many thanks. All the best to you and to the European Movement International. Talk to you soon.
We look forward to working with you, Klaus, in our board, but also with all your members to promote our values of democracy, solidarity, and of course, equality. Good luck to your work, and I look forward to seeing you soon.